JP, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. How you been, bro? Don, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. Tor, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. Ian, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening. George, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Theos, how you doing? Miles, I'm doing great. How you doing, brother? How you been? Dennis, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Denise, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? So, Funky brother, good to see you. How you doing? Woodhouse, good to see you. How you doing? G, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. How you been? I'll do a gist of what we're going to be talking about on tonight's live show, and then we'll do the intro, disclaimer, and by that time, everyone's pretty much tuned in for the first part of the live show. I'm over here now. Lol. Let's go, JP on YouTube. Dale, good to see you. How you doing? Frankie brother, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. How's it going? So great. Woodhouse. Pablo, good to see you. How you doing? Dale, good to see you as well. I missed what you brought yesterday when I asked you. Could you say now, please, before you start? I missed what you bought yesterday. Oh, it's because I didn't actually say what I bought yesterday. Morning, Miles and CMF. Shelly, good to see you as well. How you doing? Morning. So, welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, and I'll answer your question straight after I open up on the live show. So welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, on this live show, every single night, I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, and regulations. And I want to be talking about the gist of what we're going to be going for on tonight's live show, and then we're going to do the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So, on tonight's live show, we are going to be talking about Binance, because Binance's CEO has came out and essentially had some interesting perspectives and matters on the issues that's going around right now inside the crypto space, and what he essentially sees it as an innovation type of situation, not a panic type of situation in sort of a way. So we're going to go through his perspectives, which is quite detailed perspective, I would have to say. We're also going to be talking about Meta Planet on tonight's live show as well. Now, Japan has been a very big topic inside the crypto space quite recently for dragging down the entire market with it. So there is a massive company in Japan that is basically replicating the exact movements of MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor's company, MSTR, where MicroStrategy buys Bitcoin. It was pretty much the original, Bitcoin ETF was MSTR stock, if anyone was around that time. So MetaPlanet had essentially a massive Japanese company, buying huge amounts of Bitcoin in these moments in time right now. And we're going to go through essentially what their next purchase is going to be, what their amount of money they're raising, and how they're seeing themselves as the new financial giant in Japan in blockchain technology, especially behind Bitcoin. So we're also going to be talking about Michael Saylor on tonight's live show as well, his new perspectives on his own company and Bitcoin. We're also going to be talking about another perspective, which is a differentiating perspective to what Michael Saylor has. So the Black Swan author has came out and given his perspectives. Now, MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, his perspectives on Bitcoin are always positive. He's always, about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the air and water we breathe, is what he's essentially suggesting now in his tweets. And a opposite type of perspective we're going to go through as well from the Black Swan author. So we're going to go from both sides of the story, in spectrum, let's say. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding Donald Trump. Apparently, Donald Trump, on his own application, the Truth social media platform that he has, apparently he tweeted out that he's going to be having a sit-down with Elon Musk, is what he said, is essentially on his own platform. So we're going to go through that on tonight's live show as well. We're also going to be talking about one of the biggest gaming manufacturers pretty much in the world, and it's basically Ubisoft. Ubisoft has announced a collaboration with a particular altcoin, which when we get to that news, I'll reveal what it is. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding Bitwise. Why? Because Bitwise's CEO has once again revealed some interesting information on their new clientele that's essentially coming towards their Bitcoin ETFs. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show on regarding the matters of Velar. Now, Velar is essentially asset management company that has launched multiple ETPs around the world for particular altcoins, and they've decided that Kenya is their new spot. Now, they have launched in the EU and also inside the United States. They've launched many ETPs, but now they're aiming for Kenya. So we're going to go through their perspective on why they're aiming for Kenya regarding ETPs and how they see it as a new, essentially, headquarters for ETPs. We're also going to be talking about on tonight's live show regarding Ripple X and how Ripple X has unveiled the XRP Ledger testnet reset is on the way. And we're going to be going through on tonight's live show regarding BlackRock and how BlackRock did not sell any Bitcoins. Would you look at that? Everybody inside the retail section that was selling off their assets on a panic mode type of situation, BlackRock didn't sell any. Now we're going to hear the perspective of BlackRock. We're also going to be hearing the perspective of Eric, who's a Bloomberg specialist, an ETF specialist, and Eric has been quite right on the past regarding movements that happen inside the ETF space. We're also going to be talking about Coinbase on tonight's live show as well. So Coinbase has decided to play the exact same dirty tricks the SEC has been playing, or Gary Gensler has been playing on the entire crypto space. Gary Gensler, he goes on about the enforcement of action, essentially suing anything that blinks inside the crypto space to the ground. And Coinbase decided to take, a page out of Gary's book and go after the SEC. And we're also going to be talking about the NASDAQ on tonight's live show as well. So BlackRock and the NASDAQ have come together to push the ETF regarding Ethereum onto the NASDAQ. The filings have already been done. So quite major, announcements to go through, perspective news to go through on tonight's live show. And and the first news we're going to go through on tonight's live show is regarding Binance's CEO, Richard Teng. Now, before we go through that, welcome to the CMF live show once again. If you're watching this for the first time ever, the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. If you are new, welcome, and if you're regular, let's go CMF. Also, this live show is pretty much now sponsored in a way by BingX Exchange. So BingX Exchange, if you want to go and check them out, the link is on my bio on X. Now, regarding the first news, before we go through, let's just go quickly inside the comment section. By the way, the comment section, as always, is a live comment section. So if you're on X or on YouTube, you can comment. So we're going to go through it once. Let's see where we are at. Before we go through it again, we were at here. David, good to see you. How you doing? Evening, Miles of CMF. Let's go, David. Jim, good to see you. How you doing? What is next for crypto? A lot of things are in plan. I'll be honest with you. When can we see XRP putting? I'm guessing you're also right. Pumping, yes. When can we see XRP pumping? After the case, most likely. You're not going to be. Well, we're going to be seeing movements before the case, even if rumors start spreading that a deadline is going to be on the way, essentially, but it is going to be this year, without a doubt. Now, just going back to the original question that Tor asked. So Tor asked me the question of what did I buy recently during this drop that we just basically had yesterday. I brought a lot of XRP, I brought a lot of XLM, a lot of XDC, a lot of AVAX, a lot of Chainlink. I brought some TON and a few other projects that I did buy as well, which I'll list them all inside a Telegram group. So let's go back to this pumping. Yeah, I can't use BingX in the UK. No, it's not available in the UK, only for EU citizens. XRP, up, down, or sideways. For the time being, I would have to say sideways and up, unless we get some sort of massive bad news again. Something on the lines of Japan's market space. Good evening, Miles and CMF, and congrats for the new partnership. Let's go, Orifin. Thank you so much. Yes, and BingX is pretty much the new sponsor of this live show, which is absolutely amazing. And so, Binance CEO Richard Teng advocates for innovation aimed the market downtrend we just recently had. Now, what Binance's perspective on this matter that we just had is similar to another executive that came out recently and said essentially you should be focusing on utility rather than price action, even when the times of the market is downwards. So he's trying, essentially executive members are trying to remind people why they're inside the crypto space. It's not for price action. You're in the crypto space for utility, which is where we're headed right now due to the amount of regulations we have in place and the amount of essentially banks and institutions coming into play. So Despite recent cryptocurrency market crash, Binance CEO Richard Teng remains optimistic about the future of digital assets. Richard Teng attributes to the decline in the macroeconomic factors and stresses that the downturn is a temporary phase rather than a long-term trend, which is true. According to the reports, Bitcoin, the leading cryptocurrency, recently fell to 54,662, and essentially a 7.91% drop in 24 hours that recently happened, causing a concern among investors. However, Richard Teng's insights provide a helpful perspective on the market's future. So, Richard Teng identifies global economics, volatility, and decisions by central banks as key contributors to the significant drop in the cryptocurrency values. Anticipated interest rate cuts from the Federal Reserve have increased investor caution as well. Additionally, fluctuations inside the Japanese and Taiwanese stock markets have influenced investor behavior, leading to market instability. Teng also believes that lower interest rates could heighten investors' risk tolerance, potentially leading to market fluctuations. He maintains that these macroeconomic factors are temporary and that the markets will recover, which they have in a way. Now, this viewpoint reassures worried investors, emphasizing the market's resilience and its ability to rebound from economic shocks. So, Binance's CEO emphasizing the importance of building during downturns. Despite the market's inherent volatility, the Binance CEO advises investors to remain informed and conduct through research before making investment decisions. In the rapidly evolving cryptocurrency market, staying updated on trends is crucial. Investors must proactively understand the factors driving market movements to make well-informed decisions. Facts. Richard Teng essentially highlights the current declines that do not signify a long-term negative trend, but rather demonstrate the market's ability to recover from economic shocks. His optimistic outlook encourages investors to maintain for the long term. Teng's confidence in the market's resilience offers a sense of stability and aimed volatility. Political factors also play a significant role in the market trends. Sudden changes in various regions due to political uncertainties can cause market fluctuations. Investors should consider these factors when developing their strategies. Teng also urges investors to stay patient and continue building in the volatile markets, emphasizing the importance of monitoring trends and seeking opportunities. Teng further elaborates on the cycle essential nature of financial markets, reminding investors that downturns are often followed by periods of growth and innovation, which is facts because obviously history will always repeat itself. The Binance CEO suggests that market slumps present unique opportunities for developing new technologies and business models within the cryptocurrency space. By focusing on innovation and strategic planning, investors can position themselves to benefit from the eventual market recovery. Now, I'll read on more as well, but before I read on more, it's also on the similar lines of what I basically said yesterday. I laid out 3 steps yesterday, and I said obviously not financial advice, just my own personal preference. And I laid out 3 steps when the market was a bit shaky on yesterday's live show. And I said step number 1, you can just exit the crypto space and panic sell and never return to any sort of market space. I said step number 2, you can essentially remain in your positions because selling with a loss is the biggest mistake you can do if you're especially holding legitimate projects. And if you don't have a lot of money, which most people don't have to, jump back in to buy dips, that's perfectly fine. But as long as you hold, you come out on the other side much more better rather than panic selling. And I said step number 3, double down on your positions if you have the money. And I said not financial advice, just my own personal preference. So basically similar to what I said, but technologies play, this is what he goes on to say, leveraging technology for market advantage. Binance's CEO, he said that technology plays a crucial role in the cryptocurrency market, with Binance leading the way in utilizing technological advancements to enhance experiences. Teng points to Binance's use of advanced algorithms and artificial intelligence to provide real-time market analysis and predictive insights. These tools enable investors to make data-driven decisions. Binance's commitment to technology extends to its security measures. The platform employs cutting-edge security protocols to safeguard users' data and assets. Teng's focus on security ensures that Binance remains trusted and reliable platform for cryptocurrency trading, even during market turbulence. Transparency is another key aspect that Teng emphasizes. Binance is dedicated to providing clear and accurate information about market trends, platform updates, and regulatory changes. By maintaining open lines of communication, Binance aims to build a strong and loyal community of investors. Moreover, Binance's CEO highlights the role of blockchain technology in ensuring transparency and trust within the cryptocurrency market. He believes that the nature of blockchain records can help mitigate concerns about fraud and market manipulation, fostering a more secure and reliable trading environment. long-term resilience and future prospects. A perspective coming from Binance's CEO, Richard Tang. He said the recent crash inside the cryptocurrency market, including Bitcoin's drop to $54,662, is attributing to microeconomics and political factors. However, Binance's CEO Richard Tang remains hopeful, viewing these issues as temporary. His advice to investors is to stay informed, patient, and continuously monitor the market provides a roadmap for navigating these challenging times. Tang's focus on long-term resilience underscores the potential for cryptocurrency market to recover and thrive despite current volatility. Platforms like Binance play a critical role in this recovery, leveraging technology and transparency to build trust and support within the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Tang also stresses the importance of education and knowledge sharing inside the crypto space. He encourages experienced investors and industry leaders to mentor essentially new incomers inside the crypto space, fostering a collaborative environment that can drive the entire market forward by building a strong foundation of knowledge and expertise. The community can better navigate future challenges and essentially on the emerging opportunities. Now, on the last part, essentially Richard Tang saying that people who are more experienced inside the crypto space should be essentially taking charge in times when the market is on a massive downtrend and everybody's panicking. He's coming out and saying that people who understand how the crypto space operates should be taking charge and essentially calming down the crypto space, which is basically what I did yesterday when most people were panicking, essentially on X and so on. Not the people that watched this live show, because they don't panic. CMF doesn't panic. But people who are watching, essentially, people who are on X or people who are on TikTok and so on, Instagram, no matter where you are, there was massive amounts of FUD going, which adds more to the whole panic situation for people who are new inside the crypto space. So I would say stop creating clickbait, essentially videos on creating more panic inside the crypto space when the market goes on a downtrend, because the market is going to recover and come back up. I'll be honest with you, on our own Telegram of this live show, when I was asked the question, when the market was in full panic mode, when I was asked the question of when do I think the market is going to recover, I said Monday. If you don't believe me, you can ask members that are inside that Telegram group. When I was asked the question of when do I think the market is going to recover, when the market was on a massive downtrend, yes, basically starting the day before yesterday, I was asked the question of when do I think the market is going to recover, and on Saturday I was asked, on Sunday I was asked as well. I said Monday is going to recover because the market will open up. But people like that, people like me, understand the market is going to recover and basically on Monday and come back up. But people who also like me know that on Monday the markets will recover, but they tend to create clickbait videos for engagements. And what those clickbait videos do is essentially makes newcomers inside the cryptocurrency space make bad moves. And you're doing it on purpose. But the market is going to recover. So what I'm trying to say, and what Richard Tang, Binance's CEO, is trying to say is that if you understand how the markets moves, if you understand how the cryptocurrency moves inside the market space, if you understand manipulation in general, stop creating clickbait videos, okay? Because very, very well, if you're inside the crypto space and you understand manipulation, you understand politics, and you understand the law, you know very well the market is going to recover. So stop creating clickbait videos for engagements, because all you're doing is scaring newcomers and you make them sell their positions on purpose. And you know what you're doing. So what he's trying to say is that, basically, Richard Tang, in a very simple way. That's Binance's CEO, trying to tell people, stop creating clickbait videos because it's going to recover as well. Now, next news on tonight's live show is from Metaplanet. Metaplanet, if you don't know who they are, a massive Japanese company who recently decided, not recently, but about a month or two back, they decided to follow the exact same footsteps of MicroStrategy. Now, MicroStrategy MSTR stocks essentially was the first original Bitcoin ETF. Before we had BlackRock, Fidelity, and so on, we had MSTR stock, where MicroStrategy will buy Bitcoin, back into their company, and people will buy MSTR stocks. So many companies around the world decided to follow the exact same footsteps of MicroStrategy. There was two companies in Canada that decided to follow the exact same footsteps, buy Bitcoin and back it with their companies, two scientific companies in Canada, a few other companies around the world, some in Hong Kong as well, and then one company in Japan by the name of Metaplanet decided to follow their footsteps as well by buying Bitcoin to back it with their company assets, which worked amazingly for them because their stocks every day when the market opened pretty much shoot up. Now, in this time of turbulence that we had, Metaplanet decided to double down on their positions. Remember how I was saying yesterday, in the market space, I said step number one, you only have 3 steps. I said step number 1, if you want to panic sell, it's a choice. And if you do panic sell, never return to the cryptocurrency space market ever again. If you're the type of person that panic sells, don't be inside of any market space. I said step number 2, if you don't have money, no problem. But as long as you don't sell, you don't make a loss. And I said step number 3, basically, if you have money, double down on your positions. Again, not financial advice in any sort of way, just personal preference of what I tend to do, which is stick to number 3, double down. So me saying that yesterday, basically, now we have Meta Planet also doubling down their positions. Now, this is the article, basically, why Meta Planet's $70 million Bitcoin bet could change Japan's financial landscape forever. $70 million. In a bold move, a well-known Japanese public company, Meta Planet, has revealed their plans to increase their Bitcoin holdings by raising a round of $60 million. That they plan essentially to have a significant expansion in their Bitcoin holdings. So what's the plan for Meta Planet right now? Currently, Meta Planet, they hold about 246 Bitcoins worth around $13.4 million. Meta Planet essentially has plans to raise another $70 million by offering its 11th series of stock acquisitions. They're following the exact same footsteps of MicroStrategy. These rights will allow shareholders to acquire Meta Planet stock at a price of around $4. They can acquire the stocks between September 6th and October 15th, 2024. The fund raised by these offerings will be used to buy more Bitcoin. Meta Planet started buying Bitcoin in April 2024 when I first reported on this story on this live show. According to the stock market prices of Meta Planet surged by 12% in Tokyo trading hours after this announcement. This announcement was pretty much today. Inspired by pioneers, inspired by MicroStrategy, Meta Planet started buying Bitcoin in April last year. The aim behind these purchases is to reduce yen exposure and provide Japanese investors access to crypto. In May, the firm officially adopted Bitcoin as its reserve asset. They have been buying Bitcoin every month since April. In July only, they acquired around 105 Bitcoins with 4 purchases. Now, Meta Planet aims to follow this successful example and emerge as Japan's leading publicly traded Bitcoin holder. Why Bitcoin for Meta Planet? Meta Planet strictly taking exit from its hotel businesses, which suffered declining revenue. This is one of the major reasons for their shift, as they want to utilize the power of Bitcoin to strengthen their financial position. BTC can also help protect against falling value of the yen. Future plans. The Japanese firm is not only planning to buy and hold Bitcoin, but also to make more money out of it. They are thinking of selling covered calls on Bitcoin. Along with this, their plan involves revamping their hotel business to attract Bitcoin and crypto enthusiasts. They're going to make all of their hotels, pretty much Meta Planet in Japan, one of the biggest publicly traded companies out there in Japan. They want to make all their hotels basically crypto friendly. So that's why they're betting on crypto big right now. Now, what this means, Meta Planet's big Bitcoin bet is a sign of changing times. As more companies look to digital assets for financial growth and stability, Meta Planet is positioning itself as a trailblazer in Japan. This move could reshape its future and set a new trend for other companies to follow. Now, companies inside the corporate sector do tend to follow each other once one does something. I'll give you an example. AVAX on their subnet Green. JP Morgan decided to use AVAX's subnet Green for tokenization purposes. Then Citibank followed in suit and decided to use AVAX on their subnet Green for tokenization purposes. Companies do tend to follow each other. Now, in short, Meta Planet's push in Bitcoin isn't just about buying more of digital currencies. It's a strategic shift aimed at essentially leading the charge in Japan's evolving financial landscape. So massive, turbulence coming out of Japan, but also good news coming out of Japan as well. One of the most biggest publicly traded companies in Japan is still heavy-footed on buying Bitcoin, and they want to make all their hotel businesses pretty much around the world crypto-friendly. Now, on the perspective of MicroStrategy being the igniter inside this whole Meta Planet scenario, let's talk about MicroStrategy. Bitcoin bull Michael Saylor compares Bitcoin to air and water. He's basically comparing Bitcoin to oxygen. So as MSTR stock recovers, shares of MicroStrategy's MSTR are up 4.6% over the past 24 hours, outperforming the broader market. The company's stock has now pared most of its losses that were logged during the global market crash that took place earlier this week. Bitcoin is currently trading at around $56,571 after adding nearly 5% of the past 24 hours. Just like air and water. And I'll tell you what I mean by that and what essentially he means by that. Meanwhile, MicroStrategy's co-founder, Michael Saylor, one of the essentially biggest enthusiasts for Bitcoin, recently compared Bitcoin to air and water. This is what he exactly said, word for word. Traditional finance operates 19% of the time. Capital, like air and water, should be available 100% of the time. Bitcoin is available to everyone, everywhere, all the time, Michael Saylor wrote on his social media post. During his recent CNBC interview, Michael Saylor stressed that Bitcoin represents the 21st century. The billionaire believes that the millennials should question why they are stuck with traditional finance, which is not efficient enough, which I agree with. Traditional finance is terrible, to be fairly honest. Now, if we did this to your, this is what he also said. This is what he said on CNBC. He said, if we did this to your food, your water, your air, it would be considered a cruel and essentially unusual punishment. But we are doing this basically to your money. Buying more. During the interview, Michael Saylor also strongly hinted that MicroStrategy was readying to buy more Bitcoin. He stated that the company would continue to raise more capital that will make such a further purchase possible. Michael Saylor also stated that his company's shareholders want Bitcoin per share. They think that if they can get more Bitcoin per share, that's creating shareholder value. He has added that the company will continue generating more Bitcoin per share in a way it can be possibly can. In any way it could possibly can, essentially. So, MicroStrategy, MSTR, comparing Bitcoin to oxygen, pretty much. But his statement regarding, traditional finance is absolutely terrible. I agree with 1,000,000%. His other statement also regarding, they're essentially, if the governments essentially did something to your food, they did something to your water or your air, it could be considered cruel as an unusual punishment. But they are doing this to your money, and most people aren't realizing it, is what he's trying to say on a CNBC interview, which I agree with. They have, obviously, everyone, if you're not fully aware, they have messed up the entire financial system of the world for their own greedy pockets. They definitely have. So him making that bold statement on CNBC, good for him. Now, but here is a different perspective. So we have MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, making, as always, a positive statement. Whether Bitcoin is down or Bitcoin is up, he's always making positive statements. Wherever he can, on a CNBC interview, on a podcast, on his own X profile, and so on. But now here's a different perspective from Michael Saylor. The Black Swan author. The Black Swan author says that Bitcoin is a poor hedge against market meltdown. And I'll essentially read out his perspective now, the Black Swan perspective author, and I'll let you decide inside the comment section on what you think, where you stand in this matter. Regarding MicroStrategy, comparing essentially Bitcoin to oxygen, and then the other perspective, which is this. So Nasib, the author of the Black Swan and advisor of the Universal Investments, said during a CNBC interview as well. Just like Michael Saylor had a CNBC interview, this man also had a CNBC interview as well. So he said that on a Squashbox interview with CNBC that the cryptocurrency market's abrupt downturn on August 5th shows that Bitcoin is a poor hedge against systematic meltdowns. He said that Bitcoin is essentially proving once again that it's not a hedge against your asset melting. According to him, whose books The Black Swan explores the science of randomness and extreme outliers. He said the entire crypto market saw a $510 billion drop in the total market capitalization aimed at a market-wide downtrend. Following a sell-off, over 60% of the top 50 cryptocurrencies lost all their gains made during their 2024, according to essentially data as well. Now, other asset classes blend too. The S&P 500, an index of large stocks inside the United States, fell by more than 5%, and the Japanese Nikkei also plunged by 12%. However, according to CoinMarketCap, BTC fell the worst out of all of them, and Bitcoin is supposed to be the hedge against all of these traditional finances out there. Now, Bitcoin performed worse than other assets because it's a speculative asset that seems to behave like a high-priced real estate in Manhattan, existing mainly to track the stock market. He claimed that he said gold is a superior store of value because with a gold chain, if you put it on the ground 10,000 years, it will still be gold. I mean, bold statement. You know, if you grab a gold chain and you put it in the ground and you pull it out after 10,000 years, it still has value. Bitcoin is sustained by a global decentralized network of miners, estimated to comprise approximately 1 million individuals. It has proven highly resilient since its launch in 2009, so it's given us some prospects, but anxiety persists about Bitcoin's longevity, especially as it's a fixed supply of mining rewards of 21 million BTCs in total. The crash was triggered by the Bank of Japan's July 31st interest rate hike and a spike in the price of the yen in currency markets. This drove up costs for foreign borrowers with yen-dominated debt, $2 trillion of which was outstanding just before the crash, according to a report from ING Bank. It fell especially hard on the crypto market, which collectively borrowed nearly $40 billion to finance risky leverage trades, according to CoinGlass. So those are two very, very different perspectives. I mean, we have one perspective from Mike. What's your opinions on this matter? And I'm going to ask you the question as well. So we have one perspective, and they were both CNBC interviews, okay? So one perspective from MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, a CNBC interview where he compared Bitcoin to oxygen. And he said, Bitcoin is your only, way out of this whole traditional financial system. Bitcoin can give you that freedom, a hedge against inflation. And that's what essentially he spoke about. And he said this on a CNBC interview. And then we have the other perspective, also on a CNBC interview from the Black Swan author, where he compared Bitcoin to a Manhattan property, where the price just goes everywhere, up, down, sideways. And he said that essentially Bitcoin against gold is not that great. He said that if you grab a gold chain, a very, let's say 24 karat gold chain, and you stick it in the ground, 10,000 years later, if you pull it out of the ground, that gold chain will still have value. But he's trying to say Bitcoin won't. So he's trying to say, how can you compare Bitcoin to gold? When gold will still have value, even if you put it in the ground, after 10,000 years, pull that gold chain back out, will still have value. And comparing Bitcoin to essentially a Manhattan property, but also saying that Bitcoin is a terrible asset against traditional finance. Because he said the NASDAQ fell by 5%. Another key area of the market space fell by 9%, and then you had Bitcoin do the biggest drop ever. And Bitcoin was designed to go against basically mostly fiat currencies, to be fairly honest. Bitcoin was supposed to be a hedge against inflation for fiat currencies, but over the years, it's been taken into the swath of, Bitcoin can also go against the stock markets. But it was originally designed to go against basically the dollar and so on, to go hedge against the inflation of fiat currencies, not the entire stock market. But somehow over the years, they've, dropped it in and said, it's supposed to go against everything. But what is your perspectives on that matter? Do you agree with MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, that Bitcoin is oxygen and air? Or do you agree with essentially the Black Swan author that Bitcoin is a terrible asset for essentially a hedge against inflation because it had the worst drop compared to the stock market? So what's your perspectives? Do you agree with the Black Swan author that Bitcoin is a very bad, essentially, asset against essentially hedging against inflation? Or do you agree with Michael Saylor that Bitcoin is a great asset against inflation? What's your perspectives? And then I'll give you my perspective. But I want to see what your perspectives are on the matter first. How do you weigh their arguments? Do you agree with the Black Swan author? Or do you agree with Michael Saylor? The data is there to prove one of their points and the other one's points as well. But what side of the spectrum are you on? And then I'll give you my perspective on the matter as well. But I want to know your perspectives first. So get inside the comment section. Let's see what your perspectives are. While you're doing that, let me go inside the comment section as well. Let's see where we are. Lena, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Apologies, everyone. Why right in UK, Elon Musk say civil war for the UK? He's comparing the UK basically to the US scenarios right now. That's why he's saying that. Even Miles and Crypto Peeps, Semper, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hi, Miles the CMF. How was your shopping day? It was great, Mike. Let's go. Glenda, hello, Miles the CMF. Good to see you as well. How you doing? Truth Miles, Monday. Let's go. Even Miles and CMF, Manny. Let's go. Panic leads to bad decisions and usually losses. Just hold tight and grin from ear to ear because you know exactly. There are hey there, Miles and family. Hope all is well. Ray, good to see you as well. How you doing? The two of them have great arguments, but I know one thing: Bitcoin is not a hedge for inflation. JP, I mean, valid point. And they both do have, essentially nobody can say, MicroStrategy is right all the way. From my perspective, nobody can say MicroStrategy is right all the way, and nobody can say, the Black Swan offer is correct all the way either. They both have some sort of weight to their arguments. I have to go with both. Kerry's going for both of the arguments as well. JP is going for both the arguments as well. And that, it's not great for hedging against inflation due to the data that's been provided. Mike says he agrees with Michael. Funky Brother says, I don't agree with any of them. Interesting. He says, Funky Brother says, I don't agree with any of them as the big institutions can manipulate almost anything gold or BTC. That was my main perspective. That was my main perspective. Okay. Funky Brother, thank you so much for mentioning that. Happy Pisces, good to see you. How you doing? Okay, what Funky Brother said inside the comment section right now is perfectly put. He said he doesn't agree with, look, they both have, look, on the first spot, look, they both have valid agreements, but there's another, essentially behind the scenes scenario, which is they're both very, very manipulated. So, I don't agree with any of them as the big institutions can manipulate almost anything gold or BTC. Facts. Massive institutions can manipulate gold's price value point as well. They can also, essentially manipulate Bitcoin, which comes back to the scenario of anything can be manipulated, and nothing can essentially be a hedge against any sort of inflation. Because they can manipulate the price of Bitcoin, they can manipulate the price of gold, they can manipulate the price of silver. A lot of people are stating that silver needs to be revalued, gold needs to be revalued, and they're not revaluing it correctly. So anything can be manipulated. So it's very hard to basically put anything as a hedge against inflation, especially when you have too many institutions and banks in play. Too many large corporations right now hold a ridiculous amount of Bitcoin. Too many governments hold a ridiculous amount of Bitcoin. And you've seen, what happens when a government decides to sell their wallets. Germany's government decided to drop their Bitcoin wallets on the market space. So, it's too difficult to be an asset that hedges against inflation when large corporations and banks and governments have control of the market space. So it's too difficult for any asset to be a hedge against inflation. Now, this is where I basically stand. It's too difficult. You can't say Bitcoin is it good for hedge against inflation? You can't say Ethereum. You can't say anything pretty much on this planet, because once you have large governments, corporations, and banks holding a substantial amount of a particular asset, they can manipulate the price point, which will essentially mean that it can never become a hedge against inflation. So as much as people want to say, this asset is a hedge against inflation, it's difficult because too many governments hold it, too many banks hold it, and too many institutions hold it, which means they can drop it at any time. We've seen them drop it at any time. Germany, for example, dropped it. Everybody's panicking every time, essentially the US government moves around a little bit of Bitcoin from wallet to wallet. Everybody goes, oh no, the US might drop their wallets, and so on. So it's very difficult precisely to say any crypto asset or any asset in general can be a good asset against hedging inflation, because any asset can be manipulated. Gold can be manipulated, silver can be manipulated, Bitcoin can be manipulated. Just look at who's holding it and you'll understand how no asset particularly can be a hedge against inflation. And again, it goes back to the argument of, a lot of people also, a lot of major analysts and some executives are coming out and saying that gold should be revalued, it's priced wrong, or silver should be revalued, it's priced wrong, and so on. So on the argument of, one asset is great a hedge against inflation, false. It's difficult to put any asset as a hedge against inflation, because even that asset that's supposed to be a hedge against inflation can be manipulated, especially when you look at the holders, which turns out to be massive governments and corporations and banks, because they'll just drop it and then there goes the claim of hedge against inflation. So they both have good, decent arguments with points. And basically, as I said, I wouldn't say, MicroStrategy is fully right or the Black Swan offer is fully right, but they had some decent arguments. But on the point of hedge against inflation, it's difficult for any asset to be a hedge against inflation, because any asset can be manipulated once you look at who's holding it. Because when it's time to show you're a hedge against inflation, all of a sudden it goes south. When Bitcoin is supposed to shine as a hedge against inflation, Germany will drop their bag. When Bitcoin is supposed to shine as a hedge against inflation, the Japanese market crashes. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's difficult to put any asset in the category of it's a hedge against inflation. Once you look at who's holding it and what can control it. The large institutions can manipulate a lot of people's minds too. They can sway you in any way they like, which is true as well. We just have to find a coherent superposition in the matter, yes. And they can manipulate essentially the elections as well. Hi, Miles. I'm in London this week. A fancy meeting for a coffee. Let's go, Paul. Bitcoin has no utility, is what Ian said. The large institutions, basically, they can manipulate. Yes, they can. Exactly why Michael said it's like oxygen. He loves Bitcoin. He does, yes. XRP is one and only true asset that can be used as a hedge against inflation. XRP, I'll be honest, out of all the market turbulences we've ever had, just to put it in perspective, out of all the market turbulences we've ever had, again, if you hate Ripple, you hate XRP, or you love XRP and you love Ripple, look at it from this perspective, that during during bear markets and bull markets, during Ripple being sued and so on. So many things have happened towards Ripple where Ripple got delisted. XRP got delisted, XRP was sued, XRP missed bear markets, XRP missed bull markets. It was just staggered, but it still remained in the top 10, which, if you hate XRP or hate Ripple or love XRP, that's a great point to make, as always. XRP was sued, delisted, missed bull markets, and still kept its ranks in the top 10. There were crypto projects that went through bull markets, were never sued, and they still couldn't make it to the top 10. This, you've got to give where credit is due. You've always got to give credit where credit is due. XRP missed bull markets, was sued, was delisted, and still remained in the top 10. You've got to give credit where credit is due. If you hate the asset or not, you've got to give credit where credit is due. Now, when XRP drops, we will see who is king. Let's go. Now, the next news on tonight's live show is this. Donald Trump, apparently on his own platform. So Donald Trump has his own crypto platform called Truth Labs or Truth Socials. And then Donald Trump to appear in an Elon Musk interview, crypto talk imminent, ? So in a recent post on social media platform Truth Social, the Republican nominee for the US President, Donald Trump, revealed plans for a major interview with Elon Musk. The interview, announced scheduled for Monday night, is generating massive speculation inside the markets. Given the former US president's recent pro-crypto stance and Musk's previous relations with the sector, many investors are eyeing potential discussions on the subject. Donald Trump to join Elon Musk for an interview? The recent declaration of the upcoming interview of Donald Trump and Elon Musk has taken the technology market by storm. In a recent post on his own social media platform, Truth Socials, he said he'll be doing a major interview with Elon Musk. Details to follow. This simple statement has sparked widespread discussions over the potential subject that they might be essentially discussing. In other words, the anticipation surrounding the interviews already growing in the market space as well. The market watchers are keeping a close track on the details of a possible discussion that could unfold an event. Meanwhile, the interaction between the two such high-profile figures is likely to touch on critical issues related to technology, financial economics, as well as geopolitical matters. The recent exchange of backing between the Tesla CEO and the former US president has further fueled discussions. For instance, after the assassination attempt in July, Elon Musk said, "I fully endorse President Donald Trump." On the other hand, last week, the Republican candidate for the upcoming US elections told his supporters at his recent rally in Georgia sorry, in Georgia, that I'm for electric cars. I have to be because Elon endorsed me very strongly. That's strong words coming from essentially Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't like anything electric. We've seen that in the past, and I understand why on that matter on some scales. But Elon, essentially Elon Musk backing Donald Trump on the whole assassination attempt, and he said I endorse Donald Trump. So Trump decided to do something in Elon's favor as well by, in one of his rallies, saying that he stands with electric cars, and he's doing this because Elon Musk endorsed him, so he's endorsing him back. And you've got to respect that, whether you hate the man or like the man. Somebody that backs you and you decide to back them as well in return, you got to respect that. Now, speculation soars in crypto markets. Donald Trump's recent endorsements of Bitcoin as a state reserves for the US and his suggestions of BTC as a solution for national debt have intensified curiosity. The Tesla CEO has also predicted that US is heading towards a bankruptcy given the national debt soaring to new highs. Should he and Elon Musk delve into these subjects, it could further validate and influence the cryptocurrency market space. Additionally, some market experts anticipate the interview to explore the broader implications of technology and innovation on the economy, considering Elon Musk's pioneering work with Tesla and SpaceX. Although no information is yet confirmed, which generally it isn't, but it's just him suggesting that, they're going to be having some sort of special talks along the way, discussions, and essentially, although no information is confirmed yet, the anticipation of a crypto-related discussion is high. Given Elon Musk's previous comments on the crypto market and Donald Trump's recent focus on digital asset speculations are essentially soaring inside the crypto space. I'll be honest, it will be a very interesting, essentially, interview to see Elon Musk and Donald Trump coming together to talk about blockchain innovation and in general what's happening around the world. Because Elon Musk is an incredibly intelligent man, no doubt about it. If you like Elon Musk or hate Elon Musk, you can't doubt that this man is incredibly intelligent and what he's built from the ground up. And then you also have Donald Trump on the other perspective that is very blunt and honest. So watching an interview with somebody that's very intelligent and somebody that's incredibly straightforward, they're going to definitely be discussing some matters, and nothing's off the table because it is Donald Trump. And when it comes to Donald Trump, again, if you hate the man or like the man, you've got to respect him because he does say it how it is sometimes. So seeing somebody like Donald Trump, very blunt and honest, and will say it how it is. So basically, no topic is off the table. And then Elon Musk, incredibly intelligent man. Also, sometimes Elon Musk, no topic is off the table either. If anybody saw the interview with Elon Musk and the BBC, it was one of the most incredible interviews ever, where the BBC tried to say that a BBC interviewer tried to tell Elon Musk that X, essentially social media platform, encourages a lot of misinformation and essentially encourages a lot of bad behavior and discrimination. And this is what the BBC interviewer told Elon Musk. And he thought, Elon Musk is just going to sit there and take it. Elon Musk told him, tell me exactly what did you see on the X pages? And he said, well, I can't remember. Elon Musk said, well, you just told me you use X. So tell me some things that you saw that were misinformation or discrimination. And he wouldn't let it go. Elon Musk wouldn't let it go. And he wouldn't wait for the next question to come around. So I like and I respect people who stand their ground. And when somebody lies to them, they tell them straight in their face, no matter if the cameras are on or off. So it's definitely going to be an interview to watch when it's Elon Musk and essentially Trump coming together. Two people that are basically very blunt, honest, one of them incredibly intelligent. It's definitely going to be an interview to watch because nothing's off the table. That's the beauty of that interview. Now, Ubisoft. This is the next news to go from tonight's live show. Ubisoft, one of the biggest gaming platforms out there, not the biggest, but one of the biggest platforms out there. Ubisoft has announced a collaboration with, in particular, Altcoin for its last big gaming project, for its last ever massive gaming project. So Ubisoft announced that it will collaborate with ARB and Sequence for its latest project titled Captain Laserhawk, the game. This new Web3 game will expand the universe of the popular series Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix produced by Ubisoft for Netflix. The game will feature iconic characters from well-known series such as Assassin's Creed, Rayman, and Beyond Good and Evil. It will be built on Captain Laserhawk, the game ARB. Now, Ubisoft's previous attempts at NFT gaming projects with Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint 2021 was met with significant fan backlash and promoted major gaming companies to approach Web3 games more cautiously. With ARB's, this is what essentially Ubisoft announced. With ARB's super strong blockchain infrastructure and Sequence's full Web3 stack, Captain Laserhawk, the game is poised to be a groundbreaking player focused on projects, said Nicholas, the vice president of Ubisoft Labs. He said players can both have fun and actively contribute to the development of the game here. Blockchain features in ARB allow us to give the community a real voice in shaping the story, gameplay, and even side experiences. This promotes the transparency and co-creation, paving the way for the truly collaborative future for Captain Laserhawk. So if you are a person that's very interested in essentially in gaming projects inside the crypto space, one massive gaming company inside the United States, Ubisoft, is partnering up with ARB to essentially ARB, the crypto project, the ticker is ARB, to build their last ever massive game. And it's going to be a Web3 game based on ARB's chain. So they're most likely going to be giving out some sort of tokens or wages when people play that game. They're going to go all out on their last ever massive game. So next news on tonight's live show is this: Bitwise. Now, Bitwise's CEO is Bitwise's CEO. The reason why I like Bitwise's CEO is because he says things he's not supposed to. And what I mean by that is that Bitwise's CEO, he never reveals names, but he reveals what happens in private meetings for some oddly reason. He always comes out and reveals something that of a private meeting he had, and he reveals it to news anchors, CNBC, podcasts, and he talks about, I had recently had this meeting with this massive corporation, and they're going to be doing this and such this. And you can take a guess somewhere down the line of what company it is sometimes. So recently, he again came out, essentially today he came out, and Bitwise's Bitcoin ETF, the $40 billion wealth manager, taps BITB for BTC investments. A recent update reveals that a $40 billion institutional consultant tapped Bitwise Bitcoin ETF. A $40 billion institutional consultant just reached out to Bitwise essentially for their Bitcoin ETF, for BTC investments, $40 billion company. Now, the decision was revealed by Bitwise's CEO, Hunter, who has gained significant attention from the crypto market enthusiasts aimed at buzz over the ETF market space. Besides, it also comes aimed a recovery noted in the broader cryptocurrency market, reflecting the market's regaining confidence. Bitwise's Bitcoin ETF, BITB ticker, secures a major investor. A leading wealth manager with $40 billion assets under management has planned for BTC investments through the Bitwise Bitcoin ETF. Bitwise's CEO, Hunter, in a recent X post, revealed the update while expressing his excitement over the move. You're not supposed to reveal these kinds of movements. I'll be honest, as a CEO of a company, as a CEO of a major company, you're supposed to be the most silent person inside the entire company. But Bitwise's CEO, he can't keep information within himself, which I enjoy when he reveals it, because you can take a guess sometimes of where the market's headed. So the CEO has revealed that the institutional consultant has come to its decisions after months of due diligence. It also lauded the developments as a sign of increasing acceptance of crypto among institutional investors. Now, why is this important regarding among institutional investors? Is because the next clientele, as I've revealed many times, my perspective and also executive board member perspectives and crypto platform perspectives as well, that the next wave of clientele entering the crypto space is not going to be following just retail, it's institutional clientele. So the next clientele entering the crypto space is institutional investors. Okay, that is the next clientele entering the crypto space, which means if you position yourself correctly in legitimate crypto projects and come back to the crypto space where it's all about utility and not about price action, you'll be on the correct side of the crypto space with the institutional investors coming in heavy-footed. Now, there are a lot of institutions already inside the crypto space. Some we know about due to their S1 filings with the SEC, and some we don't know about that reveal sometimes by themselves. So the next, essential clientele is institutional investors. And if you genuinely position yourself correctly, choosing projects based on utility, choosing projects that have major contracts in play, that have been in play for years in development mode. And we are in the year also, let's not forget about regulations. This is the year all about regulations. This is the year all about institutions. This is the year all about banks entering the crypto space as well. So meanwhile, the update comes at a time when BTC and altcoins are noting a rebound from the recent volatile phase as well. The recent performance indicates that investors are regaining confidence in the cryptocurrency market, buoyed by positive developments inside the crypto space. For instance, Morgan Stanley recently shared and announced that it allows its wealth advisors to use spot Bitcoin ETFs for its clients. This move also reflects the growing trend of cryptocurrency, also reveals the growing trend of the crypto institutional adoption. The financial services giant Morgan Stanley said that it would allow its 15,000 advisors to offer Bitcoin ETF options to its clients with at least $1.5 million in assets. Only these types of clients can enter the crypto space. Now, institutional adoption of BTC, the decision by the $40 billion wealth manager to tap Bitwise Bitcoin ETF reflects the broader institutional adoption trend. The Bitcoin ETF has gained notable traction throughout the year, gaining notable attention from global investors as well. Besides, several countries have followed the United States decision to allow spot Bitcoin ETFs as an investment option. Meanwhile, the recent market volatility and concerns over the potential recession inside the United States appears to have kept some traders on the sidelines. However, despite the recent correction inside the global financial markets, it has fueled speculation. Some investors might be taking this opportunity to buy the dip as per recent performance. Now, when they say some investors have decided to buy the dip, they're not referring to retail section, they're referring to institutional section. The institutional investors are the ones that are thinking about buying the dip. Now, I also previously said about a few nights ago when the market downtrend started, and I also said Monday is going to recover as well. Now, a few nights ago when the market downtrend started, I said that the market is opening up space for institutional investors to enter through. Because I said that Morgan Stanley, I revealed the Morgan Stanley news when it was first announced. I said Morgan Stanley has got 15,000 financial advisors ready to open doors, basically August 7th. So we're basically right now, because right now it is August 7th, because it is 12:29 essentially a.m. inside of London right now in the UK. So Morgan Stanley has just basically opened its doors today with 15,000 financial advisors for their institutional clientele. Now, I'm not saying, once again, I'm not saying today the market is going to shoot up because of Morgan Stanley, but what I am saying is over time, we're going to see a lot of shooting up happening due to Morgan Stanley, not just due to Morgan Stanley, but also due to other aspects as well, from the Hong Kong market or Singaporean market, or essentially Dubai's market with their new financial campaign that have going on. Dubai has a new blockchain center. It's not a type of show that comes and goes every year. The Abu Dhabi blockchain center that just been launched is something that's going to be staying there for forever, basically, where they're going to be teaching blockchain technology to any newcomers in Abu Dhabi. They're going to be essentially funding new projects. It's basically an entire blockchain sector where you can go and learn or make money. But that's just not happening inside of Abu Dhabi, but it's also happening inside of Hong Kong. There's something of a similar situation happening as well. Japan also is going that prospects as well. The UK also, regarding the Financial Conduct Authority, the Bank of England, also approving the first ever blockchain bank inside the UK. It was kind of a major news as well. But in general, there's a lot of things happening inside the institutional space right now. Major things happening inside institutional space with the amount of banks entering the crypto space, or that one major company that decided to announce themselves yesterday that they're holding a ridiculous amount of Bitcoin that they kept very silent on, about $500 million. So regarding the institutional investors are being smart right now and they're buying the dip is what they're referring to. And there are more news on that matter as well. So, for example, the next news we're going to go through on tonight's live show, and we're also going to go through the Nasdaq and BlackRock news as well, which is quite major as well on tonight's live show. But before we reach those news articles, let's read about this one first as well. So, Velar to launch digital asset ETPs in Kenya. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, why is Velar going across the pond to reach into Kenya to launch up assets or ETPs. Now, Valor also does have quite a lot of ETPs on a worldwide scale. They've launched a lot of ETPs in essentially Hong Kong, in Singapore, and some other market spaces, Taiwan's, and so on. They've launched quite a lot of ETPs for altcoins, more likely than more than essentially the traditional ones that everybody goes for, Bitcoin and Ethereum. So they've launched essentially Near ETP and some other tokens as well, Solana, Cardano, and so on, but ETPs only. Now they've decided that Kenya is the next step. And then again, Valor, American institution, so on. So the crypto fund issuer Valor has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Securities Exchange of Nigeria, the NSE, and Financial Instrument Issuance Platform, SOVFI, on issuing and trading digital asset exchange traded products, ETPs, on the NSE in Kenya. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and Hedera ETPs from Valor and affiliated companies may be the first digital asset offerings on NSE. The ETPs will be passported to the NSE according to an announcement made. Valor taking digital asset derivatives to new markets. They've decided to shift away from the usual US market, or essentially the EU market space, or even the Singaporean market space, or even the Dubai market space. They've decided to shift over to Africa's basically market space, which I'll be honest, is going to play out quite well. Most people will probably think, well, that makes no sense. Why would they move to African markets? But it will play out quite well. African nations are incredibly wealthy. Valor taking digital asset derivatives to new markets. In the European Economic Area, passporting allows registering in one member state to be recognized through the area. Oliver Rossi, CEO of Valor's parent company, DeFi Technologies, said, by leveraging our expertise in issuing and innovative ETPs and facilitating the passporting of our financial instruments to the NSE in Kenya, we aim to provide investors with secure and regulated exposure to the dynamic world of digital assets. DeFi Technologies is a Canada-based company traded under the Chicago Exchange as well, but in Canada. In June, it launched a validator node on the Core chain after Core and Valor partnered to create the Valor Bitcoin staking ETP on the Nordic Growth Market Exchange. Now, Valor also issues 33 ETPs. If you didn't know, now you know. They issued 33 ETPs on the European exchange as well. It launched the first ever Near protocol ETP on the Swedish spotlight stock market, for example, in July. Kenya began the process of regulating digital assets in November 2022. The drafting of the standalone legislation began a year later with the participation of the Blockchain Association of Kenya. As of April, a multi-agency government working group was developing a framework for monitoring and regulating cryptocurrencies and digital assets. Interest in Web3 is very, very high in Kenya, believe it or not. It's incredibly high right now. The amount of interest that is going on in terms of Web3 in Kenya, but also AI technology as well in African nations is very high. In May 2023, the Kenyan government partnered with the Abu Dhabi-based blockchain platform Venom Foundation to launch a blockchain and Web3 hub in Africa. And before I read the last part out, I did also mention a while ago that Africa is becoming an absolute hotspot for Bitcoin mining industries, for AI technology, and also for Web3 as well. It's becoming an absolute massive hotspot. I mean, not only is Dubai doing some partnerships and investments in Africa, Russia's doing some investments in Africa as well for blockchain technology. The US institutions are also doing some investments in Africa as well in terms of making it a blockchain hub, also an AI hub in some of the African nations, which is massive to see. And I also said that if you own your own blockchain startup company, Africa is helping quite a lot of businesses raise money as well. So if you want to launch your business and raise some money for it, and you're aiming for countries just, like Dubai, Kuwait, Bahrain, and so on, you can also aim for African nations. They're actually more open, believe it or not. And there's a lot of investments happening over there, believe it or not. Now, Kenya's introduction also of WorldCoin didn't go too well. The only crypto project they rejected, the only crypto project Kenya has ever rejected was WorldCoin, but WorldCoin was also rejected by Germany. It was rejected by essentially El Salvador. It was rejected by many countries because WorldCoin was scanning their citizens' eyes with their orb and giving them a WorldCoin account after they scan their eye and steal their data, and giving them $40 vouchers in return. So, but the only project they have rejected is WorldCoin, suspending Sam Altman's backed project in August 2023, just days after its official launch. The Kenya National Police Service finally let the WorldCoin back into the country in June. So that's basically the only project they have ever rejected, which is WorldCoin, which is very understandable. The UK also rejected WorldCoin as well at one point. So very understandable that matter. But Africa is becoming a massive, massive hotspot for a blockchain financial space. Even Ripple has made incredible investments and partnerships in Africa as well. Standard Chartered Bank has made some incredible partnerships and investments in Africa as well. There's a lot of things happening over there. And it is aiming to become a massive, as a whole, the whole of Africa, the continent of Africa is aiming to become some sort of a blockchain hub. Now, on the basis of a blockchain hub or a Web3 hub and so on, I mean, we have Dubai that wants to become a cryptocurrency hub. We have London that wants to become a cryptocurrency hub. Hong Kong wants to become a cryptocurrency hub. Singapore wants to become a cryptocurrency hub. Tokyo wants to also become a blockchain hub as well. But these are all essentially cities or, capital cities or countries. We're talking about an entire continent that's going to become a blockchain hub, which is massive. And Africa has a lot of resources, let's say. Africa has a lot of resources in terms of gold, diamonds, or any sort of precious metals you could think of. And as a continent, they're aiming to become a massive blockchain hub. And around it, we have cities or capital cities or countries wanting to become a blockchain hub. But we're talking about an entire continent going towards that target. And it's not just Kenya that's inside of this game as well. So many African nations are partnering or teaching education in terms of blockchain, and also getting massive investments from banks and blockchain companies out there and so on. So a lot of things happening over there. Now, Ripple X also. The next news to go from tonight's live shows Ripple X. Now, before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. Let's see where we were. So let's see, we were... Good evening, CMF family. And Miles, is it time to turn on my CMF TV? Let's talk about facts. Let's go, Theodore. They might do it on X Spaces. Their interview, that would be quite good. I'll be honest, if they did that. The only thing can work against inflation is CBDCs. Yeah, because it's their own currency. Africa is going to be the new Dubai move forward. It is. A lot of people might not want to believe that ideology that Africa is, aiming for that new Dubai kind of style, but it is. Dubai wants to become a massive technology hub. So does Africa. But as a continent, they want to become a massive blockchain hub. So let's see how things will play out in the long term. Either way, even if we have multiple blockchain hubs around the world, who cares? The more adoption that we have around the world, the better it is anyways. So if Dubai is aiming for it, Singapore's aiming for it, London's aiming for it, Tokyo's aiming for it, Hong Kong is aiming for it, Africa aims for it as a continent, why not? We want everybody adapted into the whole blockchain area. So amazing to see is what I'm trying to say. Now, Ripple X is the next news to go from tonight's live show. But I agree with JP's comment inside the comment section. I agree 100%. Ripple X unveils XRP Ledger testnet reset. So Ripple X, the development arm of the blockchain-based digital payment protocol, Ripple Labs has made a significant announcement for the XRP Ledger on the developers. On August 19th, 2024, the company plans to reset the XRP Ledger. On August 19th, 2024, Ripple is going to be essentially resetting the XRP Ledger testnet. As announced in a post, this essential reset is expected to take around 15 minutes, during which the testnet might be temporarily unavailable. Reasons behind the testnet reset. The main objective of this reset is to improve the general stability of the testnet and lower the operational expenses linked to the operating a testnet. This is essential for the upholding a strong and effective testing environment for developers working on the XRP Ledger. In addition to the planned reset, Ripple X is also investigating the long-term approaches to strengthening the resilience of the testnet. These approaches are designed to guarantee the stability and dependability of the testnet, offering a reliable testing environment for the community. Meanwhile, Ripple X is committed to keeping the developer community informed and prepared for any changes or updates that may impact their work on the XRP ledger. Ripple's CTO defends the XRP ledger value. Recall that David Schwartz, Ripple's Chief Technology Officer, CTO, recently defended the XRP ledger in an online debate against those who called it a zero-sum game. David Schwartz underlined that customers gladly pay transaction fees in exchanges for beneficial services provided by the XRP ledger, emphasizing its function in supporting a range of financial operations and essentially enabling effective asset transfers. Notably, this explanation highlights the benefits of the XRP ledger in addition to value transfer, presenting it as a strong foundation for several financial activities. Meanwhile, David Fueling, a renowned engineer connected to the Ripple X, suggested changes to the XRP ledger foundation's governance work. Fueling plans for advanced, dramatic, and decentralized procedures within the foundation line, with the expanding acknowledgement of the XRP ledger network's architecture by different protocols. Ripple's focus on CBDCs and stablecoins. In June, the blockchain provider collaborated with 10 governments to work on central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. The corporation aims to enhance XRP ledger's utility and foster stablecoin developments. Also, the partnerships with these governments highlights the potential of the XRP ledger to serve as a robust platform for CBDC issuance and management. In addition to CBDCs, Ripple is focused on stablecoin developments pegged to the stable assets like the US dollar. Ripple is gearing up to introduce its stablecoin RLUSD, which have already launched on their own websites, and I talked about it as well. The stablecoin will be available on the XRP ledger and Ethereum platforms as well. Now, so if you weren't aware, if you essentially, this particular timeline comes around, which was around August 19th. On August 19th, if you see that XRP is having some sort of difficulties on the testnet, it's because they're resetting the entire, basically, XRP ledger testnet completely for about 15 minutes. It's going to be down. Massive things are going to be updated on it to solve some issues or even add some new features on it. August 19th, this is going to be happening for about 15 minutes. It's going to take. So, also on the matter of David Schwartz essentially defending XRP, and some people calling XRP a zero-sum game. The people that call XRP a zero-sum game, in a very simple word, in a very simple 2 words, they're morons. Honestly, if you see XRP as a zero-sum game because you're not seeing the price action you want to see, you're a moron. Because you've got to remember one thing, and I've said this before as well. What they're trying to achieve is not an easy task, it's an incredibly difficult task. There are 24,000 crypto projects, as I previously stated. There are 24,000 crypto projects, and there's a lot of projects, developing on Web3. There's a lot of projects, on the Web3 category, gaming category, AI category, data category, but there's only one project doing CBDCs, and one project only has a CBDC platform that's operational, one project that's on the PDF document titled Cross-Border Payments, public documentations from the Bank of International Settlements, central banks of all central banks, 63 centralized banks, including G20 countries and G7 countries. So, and they have won multiple CBDC awards, and 98% of the world is in CBDCs. According to the Bank of International Settlements and the International Monetary Fund, 98% of the world is in CBDCs. Centralized banks are in CBDCs. Either they're in research stage, testing stage, or implementation of testing stage. And this is coming from the Bank of International Settlements. 63 centralized banks under it, including G20 countries and G7 countries. 98% of the world is in CBDCs. 24,000 crypto projects. One has a CBDC platform that's operational. One is with the Bank of International Settlements on that public documentation. One only does, back-to-back meetings essentially with the World Economic Forum, making announcements on next movements. One of them only has multiple CBDC awards. Most people don't even know inside the crypto space that they hand out CBDC awards. And XRP has multiple CBDC awards, as basically Ripple has a CBDC platform, operational CBDC platform with the Bank of International Settlements. 90% of the world in centralized banks are in CBDCs, 98%. Do you know how high that number is? Now, on the subject of a lot of people are saying, why doesn't XRP move? I want to see some price action or so on and so on. There's 2 factors in place. One is the case, which a lot of people know about. Is very simple. The case is blocking some sort of movements on it. And it's due to, it's difficult to launch something when you're being sued by the SEC at the same time. The second thing is what essentially Ripple is trying to achieve is not an easy task, and a lot of people don't tend to comprehend that matter. And what I mean by that is, for example, if any crypto project launches in the data category, if any crypto project inside the data category, the gaming category, Web3 category, AI category, they launch an application, and let's say 5 million people download that application, and the application has downtime. It goes down all of a sudden for 4 hours, let's say, for example. It's not a big deal because they can update the application, a few bugs, and they'll fix it, bring the application back up. If it's a Web3 application, gaming application, or AI application, or data application, that's not really a big issue. They'll bring it back up within 4 hours or so on, and nobody cares. Now, on Ripple's perspective, Ripple's trying to change an entire financial system, which means they're not supposed to be 100% sure before they launch. They're supposed to be 1 billion% sure before they launch, because you cannot have an entire financial system go on a downturn for about 4 hours. Imagine the Bank of England, the Bank of the US, the Bank of Canada, the Bank of Australia, the Bank of Japan, the Bank of United Arab Emirates, the Bank of Hong Kong, the Bank of Russia, the Bank of any country, all together having no access for about 4 hours. It will cause massive protesting, massive riots. People can't access their bank accounts. Nobody can send money. Nobody can pay for their rent. Nobody can pay for their mortgage. Nobody can pay for their loans. Nobody can buy groceries. Nobody can do anything. So what Ripple's trying to achieve is very different from the other 24,000 crypto projects out there. And a lot of people don't still tend to comprehend that matter in any sort of a way. That the task they're trying to achieve is incredibly difficult. And they're not supposed to be 100% sure before they launch. They're supposed to be 1 billion% sure before they launch, because we cannot have centralized banks all around the world staggered for about 4 hours. But any other crypto project out there, a gaming crypto project, an AI crypto project, a Web3 crypto project, a data crypto project, it doesn't matter if their application goes down for 4 hours. Nobody cares. You can still pay your mortgage, you can still buy groceries, you can still pay your loans, you can still send money to someone. But on the other hand, Ripple's task is financial system. Not easy. They cannot have a single bug within the system, not even a single bug. So they have to be 1 billion% sure before they launch, not 100%. So a lot of people just don't understand this factor of what Ripple's trying to achieve. Not an easy task. Do you know the amount of stress you would have, the amount of pressure you'd be under trying to achieve a task like that? So you've got to give credit where credit is due. But if you are a type of person that wants money like this, price action, go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. Go to a different crypto project. But if you're a type of person that understands what they're trying to achieve is not easy, and understands at the same time they're being sued by the SEC, and you're holding on for utility purposes, then you'll be rewarded at the end. But if you want price action, there are 24,000 crypto projects out there. Go for the price action. So, but for anybody out there that's is trying to say that Ripple or XRP is stealing money, or Ripple and XRP is wasting everybody's time, they're not. They have more contracts in place than any other crypto project out there. They have more partnerships in place than any other crypto projects out there. They're achieving an immense, difficult task that no crypto project has taken upon before. So you've got to give credit where credit is due. If you hate Ripple or like Ripple, you've got to give credit where credit is due. What they're trying to achieve is difficult, and they have to be 1 billion% sure before they launch. Not 100%, 1 billion% sure. They cannot have any banks not having access for about 4 hours or 2 hours. It's just not possible. So this is what a lot of people don't understand about Ripple and XRP. They're different. Ripple and XRP are different from the other 24,000 crypto projects. What they're trying to achieve is incredibly difficult. What the rest are trying to achieve inside the crypto space, if they fail or not, it's not a big deal. Nobody's life gets affected. But if Ripple fails, everybody's life gets affected, because they can't send money. They can't pay their mortgages. They can't pay their loans. They can't send money. They can't buy groceries. Protests will happen. People say, "Oh, wow, I can't access my money for 6 hours. What's going on?" That's what Ripple's difficulties and tasks are going to be if their systems have bugs when they get implemented. But if you're playing a Web3 game and the game doesn't work for 4 hours, you just go and do something else. But if you can't access your banking app, then that's a big deal. So don't ever compare Ripple to any other crypto project out there, because Ripple's on its own path, on its own road, that is incredibly difficult. So now you know that about Ripple. So maybe you can give it the respect it deserves now. If you never respected Ripple, you never respected XRP, you thought they're wasting everybody's time, they're not. It's just what they're trying to achieve is not easy. Whilst being sued by the SEC doesn't make it easier. Now, let's see where we are. And the next news we're going to go from tonight's live show is regarding BlackRock. Is the next news we're going to go from tonight's live show. But before we go through that, let's go to the comment section first. And this is a live Q&A, and I read it, and I'm reading everybody's comments one by one as usual. So I'm about to reach everybody's comments. Let's see where we were. We were here. Even the constructions in Africa is going crazy. Yes, that's facts as well. Facts. Let's go, Denise, about the Ripple topic. I agree with you 1,000,000,000%, Miles. Even when Facebook had a downtime, it was chaotic and lots of money was lost. Ginos, let's go. Facts. Let's go through them. They fight in Starbucks if their coffee isn't right. Could you imagine if people could not get their money? Lol. I mean, what JP just made is a very great point as well. And people fight in Starbucks with, essentially the person that's making the coffee if their coffee isn't correct. Imagine you can't access your money for 4 hours. And it's not just, one country, because it's one system connected to all. So it's every centralized bank all of a sudden stops working. That's a big, big task to take on anybody's shoulders. Do you know what? Let's go, Healthy. Most aren't doubting what Ripple are doing. It's just some who are admit that they will not be using XRP, which is frustrating. Yes, there are a lot of people also that say that Ripple's not going to be using XRP. A lot of people, probably say, "Oh, Ripple's never going to use XRP," and so on. Ripple, even though Ripple multiple times has said, that they're going to be utilizing XRP, and that Ripple is XRP and XRP is Ripple. But you also get Ripple sometimes, coming out on their own website. If anybody ever bothers to read, and educate themselves on any matter, not just Ripple's matter, but educate yourself on a lot of crypto projects that are absolutely amazing and achieving amazing things as well. But if anybody ever bothered, if you go to Ripple's website, you can read something that Monica Long wrote. So Ripple's CEO, essentially, she wrote multiple paragraphs and laid out essentially how they're going to be utilizing XRP through their Ripple payments, essentially, and basically step-by-step scenario, and how XRP plays a crucial role. It says all of this on their own website, but nobody ever bothers to read it. And then also, do you know what also nobody ever bothers to read on Ripple's website as well? Metico. So nobody knows this either. Some people know this because I revealed it on this live show once, and I read it from Ripple's own website to everybody, and which is, so when essentially Metico was making partnerships, for HSBC, everybody said, "Oh, that's Metico's partnership. That's not Ripple's partnership. It's Metico partnering with HSBC. It's not Ripple partnering with HSBC. It's Metico." As if that means anything. Look, if you've never operated inside the corporate sector, don't give corporate opinions. I have operated inside the corporate sector, which is why I could give some sort of a corporate perspective, let's say. So Metico is also going to be changing their name to Ripple something. It's on Ripple's own website. Metico is going to be changing their name, and Ripple's going to be changing Metico's name to Ripple something, because it's a Ripple company. So every time you saw on the news, Metico partners with HSBC, Metico partners with IBM, Metico partners with this, it's all Ripple's partnerships. It's just happening through Metico. And Metico's name is going to be changed to Ripple something. It's on Ripple's own website. I revealed it once. It's on there. It's the same paragraphs that Monica Long wrote. So on that topic as well, everybody that thought, it's not Ripple, it's Metico. Look, simplest scenario, Volkswagen. Okay, here's a comparison. Volkswagen owns Audi. Audi owns Lamborghini. Okay, Volkswagen owns Audi. Audi owns Lamborghini. Who owns Lamborghini? If Volkswagen owns Audi and Audi owns Lamborghini, who owns Lamborghini? Volkswagen, because Volkswagen owns Audi and Audi owns Lamborghini. Who owns Lamborghini? Volkswagen, not Audi. Audi does own it, but who actually owns it? Volkswagen. It's the same scenario. Ripple owns Metico. Metico does partnerships. Who owns Metico? Ripple. But everybody likes to go, oh, well, it's Metico's partnerships. It's not. It's their partnerships. And Metico's name is going to be changed. So I had to basically dumb it down on the scenario of Volkswagen owns Audi. Audi owns Lamborghini. Who owns Lamborghini? Volkswagen. That's the simplest way I could put it. So for anybody out there that has doubts on Ripple's Metico partnerships, it's Ripple. If anybody has doubts, XRP is going to be used, it is going to be used. It's on their own website, it's stated. Put some respect on it, XRP. Let's go, Denise. These YouTubers are morons. Why? Who justify himself, crucially himself. So they are big morons, not you, Miles. Yeah, facts, honestly. Miles, only two men I've come across who are super confident regards to their projects and investments are Michael Saylor on BTC and Brad on XRP. Facts. You talk about facts always. Let's go through them. Sorry, also you always on Zoo Coins. Yeah, Volkswagen. Yeah, let's go. Now, BlackRock. BlackRock did not sell during crypto market crash. Did you know that? Well, most people were, essentially panicking. The newcomers, that were panicking these 2-3 days that just went past inside the crypto space when the market was going on turbulence and because of the Japanese market space. Did you know that BlackRock didn't sell? BlackRock did not sell during the crypto market crash. The details. The first Monday in August 2024 has gone down in the crypto history as a notable day in terms of price crash. Some have even described it as a Red Monday, giving the huge slump in the crypto space and the broader financial market space. Despite the price crash, which pushed many investors to hit the sell button on their digital assets, particularly Bitcoin, BlackRock, IBIT, did not see sell-offs as the asset manager held on its portfolio's investments in the world's leading digital asset. BlackRock had zero sell-offs. Zero. BlackRock's unwavering stance. As Eric, the Bloomberg senior ETF analyst, put it, he said BlackRock's decision not to sell speaks volumes. It definitely does. BlackRock's decision not to sell speaks volumes of their unshaken stance. Notably, BlackRock had suffered an 8% decline in the outgoing week and was reeling from that loss before the market crash on Monday occurred as well, but they had zero sell-offs. So IBIT investors woke up on Monday to a minus 14% move over a weekend after stomaching an 8% decline the week prior. And what did they do? Absolutely nothing. Zero flows. Compared to some of these degens, that these bloomers are like the rocks of Gibraltar. In an epic market movement on Monday, BlackRock's investors again recorded a negative move of minus 14% after weathering the weekend storm of an 8% loss. Nevertheless, these investors stood steadfast with zero flows. Meanwhile, the total outflow for the group registered essentially 186 million, which represent approximately 0.3% of the total asset under management. Noteworthy to state that Grayscale accounted for 1/3 of it. 1/3 of the 0.3 sales that was happening was Grayscale. Grayscale's always been a massive manipulator anyways, but accounted for 1/3. Now, Eric predicted that this week will register more outflows up to the tune of billions, or the equivalent of 5%. Overall, the renowned analyst has expressed shock at the reaction from some investors inside the crypto market. He went on to say, even I've been surprised by the hold ability of the boomers and equally surprised by the weakness of the natives. My lord, you finally have ETFs here bringing us $17 billion and you can't just chill, is what he said. It's an interesting way to put it. But yeah, the rest of the ETFs were on shaky grounds. BlackRock, not so much. And the investors of BlackRock went through a decline of 8% and a minus 14% decline, and then they did absolutely nothing. For them, it was just another regular day of manipulation. Coinbase is the next news to go through on tonight's live show. Coinbase has decided to take a page out of Gary Gensler's book. Gary Gensler's book is full of dirty tricks. If you didn't know, now you know. Gary Gensler's book is full of dirty tricks. The SEC once got caught lying to a judge, a federal judge, regarding the matter of debit books, and the two lawyers from the SEC were fired. The SEC department had to close down, and the SEC had to pay some sort of a penalty charge. And that's not the only time the SEC has lied their way into some court scenes or into some documents. So Coinbase has decided to take a page out of Gary Gensler's book and stick it next to him. So Coinbase subpoena request faces SEC resistance in New York courtroom. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission asked a New York court to deny crypto exchange Coinbase Global the subpoena, demanding that the regulator hand over essentially all documents in any way related to crypto. Coinbase asked the SEC to hand over any documents they have related to crypto, because Gary Gensler has apparently an immense books or filings of what crypto is, what crypto can do, and why crypto falls on the securities no matter what, is what Gary Gensler always states. And how Gary Gensler always does state that the laws we have now that were made in the 1980s apply to blockchain technology. So, and also the SEC claims that they've done multiple research on cryptocurrencies. So Coinbase asked for a very simple request. If you claim, the SEC, you have done multiple, years or months of research on crypto, you say that you can compare crypto to traditional financial laws that we already have, no problem. Hand that information to us as well. And the SEC, instead of being transparent, decided to say no. But what do you have to hide, Gary? Gary, I thought you were confident. Cryptocurrencies or securities, no? In Gary Gensler's words, they are. So Gary Gensler, if you are confident, hand over the information you have on all cryptocurrencies. You claim everything is a security, and you claim the traditional laws we already have from the 1980s apply to cryptocurrencies. So hand over the information, the research that you've done that shows that traditional laws apply to blockchain technology. Hand that information over. What are you scared about? It should be the real question. The SEC denied it. The subpoena demanding that the regulator hand over essentially all documents that in a way relate to crypto, according to the court documents filed earlier. The news comes ahead of Coinbase's upcoming trial against the SEC. Last year, the agency filed a lawsuit against Coinbase for allegedly operating as an unregistered securities broker. This is when the SEC sued Coinbase, where they said Coinbase is operating as an unregistered security, everything they sell is wrong, and they should be paying penalties, and they fall within our security laws after our conducted research. So, fast forward to today, essentially Coinbase asked, hand over the information. That all of those years of research you have on cryptocurrencies, those relatable information you found that traditional laws apply to cryptocurrencies, hand it over, be transparent. What do you have to hide? Well, apparently to the SEC a lot, because the SEC don't want to hand over anything. So leading up to that, Coinbase sued the SEC, seeking to force a response on its rulemaking petition. The court's documents filed on Monday stated that the SEC had been responsive to Coinbase's requests for additional disclosures. The SEC is claiming that they've been very cooperative with Coinbase, which is full of BS. Knowing Gary Gensler, it's always full of BS, including providing fair notice and documents from investigation files and unrelated Coinbase cases, which is all lies. Unsatisfied, Coinbase continued to press the SEC to conduct a sprawling search of all agency records, including all internal files and all communications with government agencies and market participants. Lawyers for the SEC wrote. The lawyers for the SEC said that Coinbase is asking for unrelated information, asking for information of the conversations we've had with government agencies about cryptocurrencies. Why do we have to hand this over? Well, because you're full of BS. Gary Gensler. That's why Coinbase is asking for this information. Because apparently, according to Gary Gensler, the law is behind him, congressmen are behind him, everybody's behind Gary Gensler, and it's just the crypto space that's against Gary Gensler. But in reality, congressmen are against Gary Gensler. All politicians in general are pretty much turning against Gary Gensler. And we also have a new upcoming president who wants to fire him on day one. Congressmen have put so much pressure on Gary Gensler, where Gary Gensler had to greenlight the Ethereum ETFs on the spot. Congressmen once decided to reduce Gary Gensler's wage to $1. That's not a joke. A while ago, a congressman decided to reduce Gary Gensler's wage to $1 because they know they can't fire him, but they can make his life a miserable hell. But for some odd reason, Gary Gensler claims he has this beautiful relationship with all these congressmen and politicians, and that he should not be sharing this valuable information that these politicians are sharing with him to Coinbase about cryptocurrencies. But in everybody's eyes, Gary Gensler is full of BS. There's nobody on his side except from Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren actually handed over Gary Gensler once questions with answers, as if Gary Gensler was going to go on a TV show. You know when you go on a TV show or somebody's podcast and they give you a set of questions and a set of answers you could possibly use? Imagine if you're going on Jimmy Fallon and they say, well, Jimmy Fallon is going to ask you these questions and these are the answers you can give, is what your agency would give essentially. Elizabeth Warren asked Gary Gensler to come in front of congressmen, give them questions and the exact answers you should reply back with. So these are the type of information Gary Gensler doesn't want to come up with and give to Coinbase. All the manipulation information that Gary Gensler has used against crypto spaces, all the manipulations and under-the-table deals that Gary Gensler has done. He doesn't want any of this information coming out. And he's rejecting all of Coinbase's request of handing over anything, but now in Coinbase's eyes. In all, Coinbase requested entirely and essentially irrelevant documents based on the tenancy agreement that they could somehow relate to Coinbase's services or the applications of security laws to crypto should be handed over. And in response to the SEC's court documents, so this is Coinbase's response again. So in response to the SEC's court documents, Paul, the chief legal officer at Coinbase, said in an X post as well that if the SEC is going to engage in an unprecedented regulation by enforcement campaign, which is suing anything that blinks or has a pulse inside the crypto space, the least they owe to those they target and the public is transparency. So if the SEC is going to sue anything with a pulse, genuinely, anything that blinks or has a pulse inside the crypto space gets sued by Gary Gensler. So if they're going to do that, the least you could do is be transparent on why you're suing anything with a pulse inside the crypto space. It's not much. They're not asking for much. They're asking for transparency. Something that, ironically, Gary Gensler asked from the crypto space. Gary Gensler always asked crypto exchanges, be transparent, work alongside the people. Well, Gary Gensler, listen to your own words. Be transparent and work alongside the people. NASDAQ is the next news we're going to go for on tonight's live show. The NASDAQ has just asked to list options on spot Ethereum ETFs. The filings have been done. NASDAQ Options Exchange asked the United States regulators to permit options trading on spot Ethereum exchange-traded funds, ETFs. According to an August 6 regulatory filing, Nasdaq proposed rule change would apply exclusively to BlackRock's iShares Ethereum Trust, which is the only Ether ETF listed on the Nasdaq electronic exchange. The others are listed on the New York Stock Exchange, Accra, and Cboe. Now, the filing marks an important step towards widespread adoption of ETH ETFs on the Nasdaq, which listed in July and proceeded to attract approximately $1.5 billion in net inflows, according to Morningstar. The US Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has still yet not authorized options trading on spot Bitcoin ETFs, which is listed back in January and now in control of approximately $50 billion in BTC. In July, the SEC told the half a dozen option exchanges, including Nasdaq's ISE, that had asked to list the options on spot BTC ETFs that more time was needed to reach a decision. Options are widely used by hedge funds and financial planners alike to essentially safeguard against sharp market movements, like the 28% drop in Ether spot price on August 5th. They also form the basis for more exotic strategies, such as covered essentially strangles and tutored by the 10x Research and investment research firm. Financial advisors control as much as half of the investment flows in the $9 trillion ETF market space. And more than 10% of the advisors are actively used options to manage client portfolios as of 2023, according to a survey by the Journal of Financial Planning. So, Nasdaq and BlackRock filing towards an Ethereum ETF spot option, something that was not approved yet for the Bitcoin ETF, for Bitcoin regarding spot options, but BlackRock and Nasdaq are doing filings to get Ethereum ETFs, Ethereum as in general as a spot option on the Nasdaq. If that gets approved, it will bring a lot more institutional clientele towards it, not overnight, but over time, which either way is still good. But that is also good to see, honestly, on the Ethereum side. Good to see, yeah, genuinely. Now, before let's go inside the comment section as well. Let's see what questions we have inside the comment section. And by the way, this is a live show, which means you can put your questions inside the comment section as well. Let's see where we were at. We were here. I must say, the night that the crash happened, and for us in the CMF to see it happen in real time, it was pretty awesome. 90% of the time you miss it, especially if it's a nighttime or overnight, which is true. I think every country in the world hates Gary Gensler, to be fair, at this point. I agree. I agree with JP that about pretty much every country in the world. I mean, I'm in the UK and I hate Gary Gensler as well. I'm in London, so, you know, people in the UK don't like Gary Gensler. People in the EU don't like Gary Gensler. Even Middle East and Asian countries, they don't like Gary Gensler either. And the US hates Gary Gensler. So for some odd reason, Gary Gensler thinks everybody loves him in politics, and that, you know, he's not revealing anything. But Gary Gensler is the type of man to go around and tell the blockchain space, be transparent. Gary Gensler will tell, you know, CZ, be transparent. He will tell Coinbase's CEO, be transparent. He'll tell Brad from Ripple, be transparent. But then when somebody tells Gary Gensler, be transparent, Gary Gensler goes, no, 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 no. And gets his lawyers involved. But Gary Gensler tells everybody else around him inside the blockchain space, be transparent to your people, to your essentially customers. Be transparent to your customers. Be transparent to your clients. But then when the question gets turned around on Gary Gensler, be transparent, Gary Gensler. No, 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 no. Gets his lawyers involved. It's also what Tether does as well. Just wanted to add that one in there. But it's also what Tether does as well, USDT. They struggle with transparency, hence why USDT is not listed in the EU market space anymore. And for the exchanges that are still operating with USDT in the EU, they're going to slowly stop as well. Some already have. Now, if you enjoyed this live show, we have come to the endings of this live show. If you enjoyed this live show and you're watching it for the first time ever as well, welcome to the CMF live show. You can join it. You can tune into this live show every single night on X, if you're watching this on X right now, or on YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube right now, because I stream to both of them at the exact same time. This live show is called the CMF live show. It stands for Crypto Miles Family, and we have our own Telegram group as well, and everybody's absolutely amazing and respectful. We have people from all around the world, and It's free because I believe education should always remain free. So if you want to join it, the link is on my Telegram. If you click on the link on my the link is on my Telegram. If you click on the link on my X profile, if you're watching this through X, if you click the link on my X profile, you can click the Telegram link and join it. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link is also on my YouTube, on my profile as well. If you want to join a Telegram group, absolutely amazing place to be, especially, even if you're a newcomer, or a pro inside the crypto space. It's a great community, that we do have. Everybody's extremely respectful as well. And yeah, if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. This live show starts around 11:25 p.m., 11:30 p.m. UK time every single night. This is episode 120. That's 120 episodes I've done so far, pretty much back to back every night. And yeah, if you enjoy this live show, drop a like. And just to give you a gist for anybody that tuned in late on tonight's live show, we went through the NASDAQ and essentially BlackRock and Ethereum listings. We went through Coinbase subpoenaing SEC and essentially reversing the game on Gary Gensler. We talked about on tonight's live show regarding BlackRock not selling during the whole panic situation inside the crypto space. We talked about Ripple X unveiling an XRP Ledger testnet reset that's going to be happening soon. We talked about Valar launching ETPs in Kenya. That's where their new aim is, Africa. We also talked about Bitwise's Bitcoin ETF, the $40 billion wealth manager that is going to be joining the Bitcoin ETF space from Bitwise's side. We also talked about Ubisoft on tonight's live show as well, the massive gaming platform Ubisoft that's just partnered with the ARB token. We also talked about Donald Trump, of an interview possibly with Elon Musk, was what was suggested by Donald Trump himself. We also talked about tonight's live show regarding the Black Swan author and his perspectives on the matter of how things are playing out. We talked about MicroStrategy's perspective as well, Michael Saylor's perspective on the market space. We talked about on tonight's live show also regarding MetaPlanet, the massive Japanese corporation that's buying huge amounts of Bitcoin and doubling down on their positions. We also talked about on tonight's live show regarding Binance CEO Richard Tang as well. So if you enjoyed this live show and you're watching this on X, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. And drop a comment as well. Helps with the algorithm to expand this live show and this community that we do have. If you watch this on YouTube, drop a like as well, subscribe, and tune into it every single night as well. And also check out our partner, which is BingX Exchange. The sponsor for this live show, essentially, BingX Exchange. Go and check them out as well. The links for BingX Exchange is on my profile on X. And also for members of this live show called the CMF live show, BingX Exchange is giving everybody $100 to essentially trade with. All you have to do is sign up to BingX Exchange through the link on the post that I've made on X today. And you get $100 just by doing your KYC, and they're also giving out $7,300 as well in rewards. So it's all for members on this live show, and basically just have to click on the link, and that's the link for this live show essentially. But it's on my X, so I've tweeted on X regarding BingX. Go and check them out and sign up and enjoy your rewards and do some trading. Not financial advice in this sort of a way, but that's our partners. Also, our other partner, my other partner is Tangent as well. Tangent Wallet is also my partner as well. Tangent Wallet, go and check them out and use if you want to get a Tangent Wallet, I get 10%. I get a 10% discount. Use code CryptoMiles, which is also my name on X and social media. My persona, Crypto Miles. My name is Miles, but it's Crypto Miles as a persona. If you want to get a Tangent Wallet and you want to get 10% off, use the code CryptoMiles and you get 10% off on Tangent Wallets. And also go and check out BingX Exchange as well. The link is on my X profile to get $100 rewards and $7,000 rewards and so on. These are the two partners we have on this live show, Tangent and BingX. Absolutely amazing. Let's go. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. I think every country, look at his lawyers. All they do is lie. Facts. Thank you, Miles. Mike, let's go. Good night, Professor Miles, and thank you for the wonderful evening. Funky brother, see you tomorrow. Same time as usual. Let's go. Thanks, Miles. I'll try and sign up, hopefully allowed here. Let's go, Shelly. Thank you, Miles, for the news. And what a great sponsorship you got for the CMF Live. BingX, thank you. Let's go, JP. Long live Miles and his crystal ball. Let's go, Funky brother. Miles, you need to teach us how to trade. Yes, on Telegram, I'm going to be putting PDF documents for free. Also, I launch a lot of PDF documents completely free on Telegram, and check them out, definitely. Talk, good night, see you tomorrow, same as usual as well. And good night, everyone. Let's go. Congratulations, Brother Miles, on your sponsorships. Let's go, Frankie, brother. Thank you so much for the kind words. Pablo, yes, on Telegram, I'll post them, the PDFs. I will see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. CMF, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, everyone. Good night, Miles. And CMF, thanks for the news and another sponsorship. Let's go freaking forever. See you tomorrow. No worries. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, brother.